insane site. We have 24 satellites here. We are basically in the middle of the center of Oslo and we have this awesome Kempower site. But if you want to follow the charging session, maybe someone else wants to, you can just scan this one. Hello and welcome to AutoSpec. Today we are going to explore chargers around Oslo. So I'm driving on the E6 towards Oslo. Today I'm driving the Firefly actually, which is a small Chinese electric car. That doesn't matter for this video. This video will focus on chargers. So we will check out charging sites. So what's different about this video compared to my other videos? Well, in this video we will focus on Kempower. Kempower is a Finnish producer of DC fast charging equipment. They started out with welding equipment, but now they make DC fast chargers. And they sell all around the world. But they are extremely popular in the Nordics, and they were super early on providing super reliable, great DC fast charging hardware. And it's not only reliable, it has a great user experience as well. Great cable management, and also the ability to scan a QR code to bring your charging session with you if you don't have app access to your car, for example. Tons of innovative, cool solutions in addition to being reliable. This video is sponsored by Kempower, and I want to clarify that it's sponsored by Kempower before I start going around and talking about the Kempower sites. But I still want to bring in my story with Kempower before we get to the first site over here towards Oslo. About 10 years ago, my father bought a BMW i3. And when I was old enough, I was able to drive the car for, practice car before taking my license. And the i3 was great because you had DC fast charging capabilities. 50 kilowatts. And very early on, this was a couple of years later of course, Kempower actually put in a site in the north of Oslo, close to a gas station which is called Esso Bolleland, which is, they sell buns. That's what they are known for. It's kind of funny. They have kind of made their whole brand around buns, and they have all this kind of super ugly merchandise and stuff. Anyway, that was a very early Kempower site. So they installed Kempower units there, and I think Fortum was the charge point operator, but that doesn't really matter. And that was actually one of my first DC fast charging experiences. Of course, maybe some before that, but I really remember these chargers because they looked so much different than the FSX chargers that we were used to earlier. And this was, if I recall correctly, this was before I got to experience like the Alpitronics and stuff that entered Norway a little bit later. So one of my first DC fast charging experiences was on one of these super user-friendly Kempower stations with great cable management, the ability to move the plug around very easily. Heavy cables, of course, need good cable management, and that's one of the things Kempower is known for. In addition to their ability to distribute the power evenly or unevenly between their satellites, they call them. So now we are on our way to the first Kempower sites, a pretty new one. Then we will move down to downtown Oslo and look around and see if we find any other Kempower sites. The reason why I want to show you the Kempower sites is because this is how DC fast charging looks in Oslo and Norway. And this is what people use from day to day with their electric cars. With the enormous EV adoption of, the market share is over 90%, it's 97% last month. And everyone buys electric cars. This is the type of DC fast chargers that we interact with. I've shown you many different DC fast chargers on this channel. Now it's time to focus a little bit on the Kempower units and see what they have to offer at their different sites. And there are some super exciting sites down in downtown Oslo which I haven't had the ability to explore yet. So I'm super excited to take you on a tour and explore some Kempower sites around Oslo. And if you come to Norway and you rent an electric car, you can charge at these sites and you can see what the experience is like. This is the first location, so it's under a canopy, which is nice, and we are right by the highway. You literally drive off the highway and then you jump up here and you can park there, or you can just use these pull-through which are side by side with these gas pumps. So these are operated by ST1, which is the brand there, and these are of course Kempower units, and there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units with the power cabinet there, which I believe is 600 kilowatts, so that means 100 kilowatt to each unit if everything is under full load, which is it really is now. So you can maximum get 400 kilowatts out of this one with an 800 volt car, so like a Porsche Taycan for example, or if you have a Tesla you will get maximum 200 kilowatts because you have a 400 volt car. That's because these are 500 amps max, these cables, it seems. So it's great that they show you what kind of charging speed you can expect at the different architectures, because most people, or at least many people, know if they have a high voltage 800 volt car or a 400 volt car. So this is the interface of the Kempower units, and we can check the pricing here. It's a touch screen, but you can of course use this one to get more information. You can see that it will reserve around 50 euros, 40 euros, sorry. And yeah, you can pay with card here if you want to. These ones can actually not be activated via an app. You can use an RFID chip, or easier, just a payment terminal, and you have payment terminals on each of these satellites, they are called. So what's happening is that we have DC power running underground from these ones all the way over to the power cabinet that's way over there, so that the power cabinet can distribute the power to each of these satellites as needed. And this is great because then more people can charge at their maximum speed, because for example an ID3, maybe it's doing 70 kilowatts now. It doesn't need to take up many power modules and like block a 300 kilowatt charger. It only needs its 70 kilowatts. So the granularity of the Kempower units is 25 kilowatts. This means that it will reserve 25 in 25 kilowatt increments until you are at the charge rate that the car requests. So this means that it can distribute the power in a very good way between the different cars. So this is great from an infrastructure standpoint. The charge point operator can choose how many power modules they want, and that depends on, of course, how much power they think their site needs. And yeah, it's a great user experience as well, because at least here you have card payment, which is legally mandated in Norway right now. So most places have it, but it's great to see that we have the card terminals there, and you have all the information that you need here to start charging. And in addition, you have the well-known Kempower cable management, which makes it possible to, yeah, you don't need to park correctly each time. You can just park however you want, and you can just stretch the cable around. So even with this thick cable, which should be able to hold up to 500 amps, at least in a boost mode, it's still easy to maneuver due to the cable management. And I will show you that as we move through the sites. I will try to show you one more new thing with the Kempower sites here. So you see, people are using it. That's a rental car, so they came from abroad and they just wanted to charge easily. Well, no problem. You have a card terminal which will take Visa, MasterCard and Apple Pay. So that's everything you need, right? We are at our next site, and this is also an exciting one. It's right off the highway, like literally, I've never actually driven in this way, but that's the E6 over there. You can see the E6 going by, and you can see those don't drive this direction signs. That's straight off the highway. And here we are. And again, we are under a canopy, and I thought I would show you how to activate these chargers with an RFID chip, because that might be something that you haven't seen before. So we have 1, 2 here, 1, 2 here, and some on the other side over there. I will show you that later. So we just open the charge port. We take out the DC pin thing, which I do hate actually. And we just bring the cable over. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. There we go. And then we go here and we tap the RFID chip here, authenticated. And charging. So what we can do if we don't have app access, I am lucky and I have app access to my car, but if you want to follow the charging session, maybe someone else wants to, you can just scan this one and you can bring the charging session with you. So we are doing 43.5 kilowatts at 67% as expected by this car, to be honest. And yeah, so that's a great solution. These are the old 300 amp cables. I believe this one is what it can deliver from the satellite, since it says I2, so current 2, 300 amps. And you can also see made in Finland, because these units are made in Finland for the Norwegian market. These are also, I believe, made in the US for the US market, but they are still very early on in the US market. So 4 satellites under the canopy here, some gas pumps and stuff. You can see one gas pump is actually removed over there, so there was a gas pump there earlier. So I'm just staying there, charging under the canopy in case of rain. That's awesome. But we also, of course, have more charging options over here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 satellites connected to the power cabinet over here. So the charge point operator here is Recharge. Those were called like Fortum, Charge and Drive before in Norway. Anyway, it's one of the largest charge point operators in Norway, and they use all kinds of different hardware. Here we can see CHAdeMO. So usually they spec some of the chargers with CHAdeMO, but here we can see CHAdeMO, 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 and CHAdeMO. So that's an insane amount of CHAdeMO, I would say. So yeah, this is another great Kempower location. I think this was a pretty early site, judging from the little bit older hardware. We don't have like the new stuff that shows, 800 volt, 400 volt stuff. You can see that we do have card readers though. I think those might be added after the fact that these were installed, but don't quote me on that. You can use the Recharge app, you can use card payment, you can do whatever you want. 200 kilowatts maximum here. Let's unplug the car and let's continue on and let's find some other Kempower sites. I wonder if I can just stop the charging from here. That would be awesome. We are basically in the middle of the center of Oslo and we have this awesome Kempower site. So we have an e-transit, ID bus, base spec, absolutely love to see that. We have an Nissan Townstar, fully battery electric as well. And we have our Firefly here, and these are 150 kilowatt units with the Recharge as the charge point operator. But this is a great location because we are extremely close to the center of Oslo. If I walk over here, I will get down to the harbor of Oslo immediately, which is super nice. Well, here are the real chargers, and again dispensing out DC power to all the satellites over here. And you can see some are parallel parking spots and some are back-in spots. So we have a mix of both here, which is nice. And the satellites are so small that you can get them really like into the curb, which is nice, so that you can have these parallel parking spots here, and that's especially nice for longer cars, I think. Here you can see the size difference between a Firefly and a BMW i3, another very popular car over here, and they actually look very similar in size. This is a pretty insane location. If you know about Oslo, that's like the main attraction in the rear there, the Opera House. And we have just the city in the background here, the actual Oslo skyline behind there. So anyways, this is a very different charge point operator. They are called Stella. It's a pretty new one, pretty new brand, and they have solutions for businesses, but they also offer EV charging for everyone. You can see the charging spaces here are enormous, so you can have like trucks and everything here, no problems whatsoever. And Stella has installed 2 of these 600 kilowatt cabinets, so that means 1.2 megawatts available on this site, distributed between all the Kempower satellites over here. So a nice distribution of power between the different satellites. Some are rated at 400 kilowatts, some are rated at 300 kilowatts. I'm not entirely sure what the difference is between the satellites that are rated differently by Stella. That's of course their branding on the chargers, but it doesn't really matter. This site will get you the power that you need, and having two of these Kempower cabinets, power units, 2 times 600 kilowatts, that ensures that we have a ton of power available here, and more than enough to charge this little Firefly. Anyway, awesome location. And what I find interesting about Stella is that they actually aim at delivering power in urban areas. They say in urban areas where you need DC fast charging, and I've always thought that you should install DC fast charging at highway corridors, not necessarily in locations that are urban. In urban we need home charging and stuff, but that's not the case for businesses. Businesses often need to DC fast charge their cars, especially long haul stuff, during the day. And here we are, it's perfect. And we are also very close to the main highway E18 going through Oslo, so it's not like inside the city center or anything, but it's super urban as well. That's the restaurant that's called Salt. It's right there, and I could just walk over to the Opera House from here if I wanted to. So this is absolutely amazing to see. I need to start my charging. Another nice location here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I think. Yes, 6 connected to the 600 kilowatt cabinet power unit there. So that's nice. So this location is right by the harbor. So the main area where people go out sailing, or go eat at that restaurant, or go buy an ice cream over there, or rent one of those things over there. Is that stand-up paddling? I don't know. Kayaks, bunch of stuff. And yeah, so this is another Stella location. And here it says this one is reserved for taxis, this one is for everyone else, and there is someone charging there. It's a very tight fit into the parking spot over here, and but yeah, we got ourselves a charging spot right here, and this is also right by the highway, even though it's very, very central. Insane site. We have 24 satellites here, and many of them are like pull-throughs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7, 8 over at the Hongxi there. And then we have 14 more back-in spots here, which is super, super nice. And everything is hooked up to the power cabinets over here, like we can see. And these are 3 times 600 kilowatts, I would assume. So that's 1.8 megawatts of power available for all these satellites, which is absolutely insane. This is probably the largest Kempower site I have ever seen. You can see P2 max there. That's the maximum output power, I believe. So 1500 amps, and 3 of these cabinets here. And everything is connected with a DC bus under the tarmac here to every single one of these Kempower units. We also have some AC charging over here, which is also operated by Recharge. And these Recharge units are in like a beautiful orange plus black color scheme, which I think looks absolutely amazing on these Kempower units. So I'm not an electrical engineer, and I don't really know that much about electricity, but I know that this is voltage in, so between 380 and 400 volts. We have input current, which is 900 amps, and we have input S1. I assume, yeah, kVH is like the power into this cabinet from the transformer that's right here. So very, very close actually. And this is an enormous ABB transformer that we see here. It goes all the way of the cabinets. So it looks absolutely amazing. It's an amazing layout here. And I assume that the cables go under this kind of metal piece here, and we have these kind of metal pieces for service, I assume. Anyway, this basically means that you can plug in your car and you can run into IKEA, and you will most likely have a full battery once you are out of IKEA, no matter what kind of electric car you have. Of course, it's depending on how long you use in IKEA, but it's great to see so many chargers, because then you will always have charging available here. There will always be charging available. It's so difficult to fill up all the 24 spots that we have here. And of course, pull through is important when going to IKEA. You might have your trailer with you, so it makes sense. And this like taxi bus is also charging here. This e-transit, which is great that they can use the large spots for parking their car. So that was a great IKEA charging site, great Kempower site, so many units, 24 units. That's absolutely insane. Let's try to move on and find something a little bit different. So here we have a giant curbside charging station. So everything is kind of like curbside, and in Norway you can park whatever direction you want. So that's why the Audi e-tron is in the opposite direction. You have 11 satellites here connected to 2 power cabinets, 600 kilowatts each, so 1.2 megawatts of power available with curbside parking. So you need to be able to parallel park, but you do get some help with these kind of spaces. And yeah, even though you can park whatever direction you want in Norway, it is actually pretty great to have the cable management that you have here, because then you can park, just drive right in and then park. So, for example, behind me here, someone is trying to park in the opposite direction, which is fine, of course, to charge their Citroën electric car, I think. Doesn't really matter what direction you park, but having the ability to have the cable management that we have here, having the ability to actually just choose however you like to park and just reach the cable over is pretty amazing. I think that was it for this Kempower tour. So now you have seen a ton of Kempower sites, and I hope I was able to explain kind of like how it works. Let's just summarize stuff. So Kempower sites often have a ton of satellites, many satellites. We saw 24, here it is 11. So it means that you have a ton of spaces to actually charge your car. It will distribute the power to wherever it needs. Of course, it's depending on configuration, but in most cases, it will distribute the power in a good way, so that people that use more get more, people that use less doesn't reserve more than they need. And that's why you have these power cabinets in the rear here, 600 kilowatts each, 2 for this location. Some locations have 1, it depends. I think you can connect up to 8 satellites to 1 cabinet. They might have changed that to 12, but I can't remember exactly. Anyway, this is the way the Kempower stuff works, that we have the central unit and DC buses out. And this is becoming more and more common, I see, with other charger manufacturers as well. Anyway, that was it for my Kempower tour. I hope you liked the Kempower units and what they can offer. I think they are amazing as a user to charge on, mainly because of the cable management, but also the QR code thing is kind of genius, especially if you have a rental car without app access. You can follow the charging curve very closely while you're walking around with your phone. So I do actually appreciate that, and I think they don't take up much space. You can have them curbside like this. You can't do that with all-in-one units. They will take up way too much space from people walking on the side of the road. So this is the perfect solution for places like this, where you want curbside DC fast charging. Thank you so much for watching Autospec. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a comment down below if you enjoyed the video. Leave a comment down below if you didn't enjoy the video. I want all the feedback that I can get. And I have to leave soon because I have been overcharging at every site because it's so fun to check them out.